There's a quiet exhaustion that isn't from work. It's from defending your life to people who didn't build it. And the longer you carry that habit, the more it costs you. Your phone lights up, a message that starts with, "Can you explain why?" And before you even respond, your chest tightens, not because you did something wrong, because you already know this won't be a conversation. It will be a negotiation. Tonight, we talk about something subtle, the need to explain yourself. Somewhere along the way, many of us sign an invisible contract. If I explain clearly enough, I will be understood. If I justify my choices, I will be accepted. So we explain why we're single, why we changed careers, why we're tired, why we need space, why we stopped answering, why we said no, why we're protecting our time now. But slowly, something changes. We stop explaining events and we start explaining our existence. And that is a different kind of fatigue. Notice this. When you over-explain, you're not giving information. You're asking for approval. And approval is a currency with unstable value. Some days you get it, some days you don't. And either way, you pay for it. Over-explaining often sounds like kindness, but underneath, it's usually fear. Fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of being seen as difficult, fear of being misunderstood and left behind. So instead of saying no, we say, "I'm sorry, it's just that I've been overwhelmed and I didn't sleep well and I have a lot going on and maybe next week." And the explanation becomes a shield, not because you're weak, but because you're trying to stay safe. But here is the paradox. The more you defend your boundary, the more negotiable it sounds. Because a boundary that needs negotiation isn't a boundary, it's a suggestion. And adults can feel that, not consciously, not with words. They feel it in your tone, in your pace, in how quickly you back away from your own no. When you explain too much, who are you trying to calm? The other person or your own anxiety? There is another uncomfortable truth. Some people do not want clarity. They want access. When you explain in detail, you invite discussion, you invite debate, you invite negotiation. When you speak simply, you close the door gently. And closed doors make certain people uncomfortable, especially the ones who benefited from walking in freely. Here's the second scene. You're at the edge of a conversation you've had 100 times. A friend asks for more than you can give. A coworker pushes for a quick favor. A family member wants a reason they can argue with, and you feel it. That reflex to make your boundaries sound softer, to make it sound reasonable, to make it sound like a compromise. So you start building a case. You offer context. You offer your schedule. You offer your stress. You offer your guilt. But they weren't asking for the truth. They were testing the door. This is why clarity can feel rude. Not because it is harsh, but because it removes negotiation. And for some people, negotiation is control. A tree does not announce why it grows toward the sun. It does not prepare a speech for the forest. It does not ask permission to become what it is. Growth does not require approval, neither does your boundary. But if you stop explaining, what replaces it? The answer is simpler than you think. You replace it with steadiness. Maturity is not learning how to explain better. It is learning when explanation is unnecessary. There are only a few moments when explanation truly belongs: when you made a mistake, when someone is genuinely confused, when you choose to connect. Outside of that, silence is not immaturity. Silence is stability. A stable person does not rush to correct every misunderstanding. They do not panic when they are misread. They understand something deeper. Not everyone needs to understand you for your life to be valid, and the need to be understood by everyone is a quiet prison, because you start living for the audience instead of living for your values. So what do you say when you want to stop over-explaining? Try these. No, I can't. That doesn't work for me. I'm not available. I'm going to pass. I'm not explaining this further. Short sentences can feel sharp, only because you're used to negotiating your peace. If you've lived long enough to know what peace costs, you don't need to justify your pace, your relationships, your healing, your rest, your distance, your standards, your silence. You are not in a courtroom. You are in your own life, and your life does not require a defense speech. Try this tomorrow. Say what you mean. Stop there. Let the silence do its work. Let the other person carry their own discomfort. Let them sit with the closed door without you reopening it, and watch how much energy returns to you. Energy you used to spend explaining. Energy you used to spend managing reactions. Energy you used to spend proving you're allowed to exist as you are. If this felt less like motivation and more like truth, stay with the calmer tales. We don't shout here, we reflect.